Welcome to Mind Race 365 TV. I am your host, Jacqueline. Back again for another chat. Another excellent conversation about how we can transform our minds. So, coming to you guys now, kind of not planned. I wanted to do a video because I've been busy this week and I wanted to keep pushing videos out. So we have to run with this one. So I wanted to answer one of the biggest questions that I get from people. And if you don't know me, I'm Jacqueline, and I'm an author and also a mindset transformation coach. And so I wrote 2 books, and the most frequent question I get from people I know or even strangers is how to write a book, or what's the best strategies to write a book, or what was my style of putting it together? How was I able to put it together? How long did it take me? What does it take? How do you get it published? All of those kind of questions. And today I'm gonna go ahead and answer a lot of those questions. So first things first, how to write a book. Now, there is really no set way that you need to write a book. It's an expression, it's an art. Of course, you want to format your words in a way that people can understand what you're speaking about, but there's no certain way that you need to write a book. So first, you can dismiss that idea that you need to know a certain way how to write, or certain things that you don't know in order to put a book together. As long as you know how to write and read, you can pretty much write a book. So hopefully you can do that, and then you can get started. My daughter is working on her book. She's 11, so I'm sure you guys can start working on your books too. Okay, now what did I say? How do I put it together? Okay, so basically I'll tell you guys what my book strategy is. And this is just my personal strategy. Everybody does not work like this who's an author. Everybody who's a writer does not work like this. This is just what works for me as far as being able to put the material together and or being able to put the material together in the form of a book. So I have 2 books, and books here, they're backwards because this video is facing me. Usually would be, but 2 books, and this is my first book. This book is a novel. It's a fiction novel about a group of young girls growing up in the south side of Chicago through their high school adolescence period. It talks about all the realistic things they were encountering due to the choices that they were making. Has a lot of vulgarities in it. I tried to make it like a realistic type of street tale, unlike many of the fabricated extra fabricated fiction stories I grew up reading as far as urban novels. And so that's what I was inspired by when I first wrote this. But I wanted to make it something realistic, but also have all the juicy details that came along with those stories. So choices, if you're interested in that, it's available. It's a great read. I'm going to talk about the difference between the 2, but The Black Experience is my newest book, which I released in January. This is a book about personal development. It is a beginner's journey into enlightenment. It is basically my personal journey of learning about mindset transformation, and I give the basic steps on making that transformation yourself. It has some cool space for you to kind of write your thoughts on your journey as you go through it. So I kind of went from one genre to another, which was definitely not planned at the time, but it's what ended up happening. So it's a big difference in how I structure these books, but I use the same method. So this book has 13 or 14 chapters. I'm not sure. I don't number my chapters on either book. I mean, that's a personal preference. For me, that is really how I structured the books in the beginning. So outline. all about the outline. How can you do anything without an outline? In the podcast today, we were talking about having a structure for success, and the blueprint to anything you want to do is so imperative to the building of it. To me, the outline is a necessity. You have to have the outline. So both of these books I had outlines, and I used the same method for the outline for both books, even though they were completely different, as far as this one being a fiction and this one being more personal development, self-help arena. So I would say with the when you're putting together the outline, think of how many chapters you may want it to be. It might not be exactly how many chapters that you end up with at the end, but think about how many chapters you want and name them so you can know what's going to happen in each chapter. Name them, and then I would, 1, 2, 3, let's say 10 chapters. Actually, I'm going to use this one as an example. So the Black Experience has 11 chapters, including the introduction. So when I was making the outline for the Black Experience, I wrote out each chapter, 11 chapters, by name, and inside of each chapter I put what the chapter is about, what I'm going to explain, and the conclusion I want the reader to come to at the end of that chapter. And that's how you start your basic outline, and you do it for each chapter. For this one, it was really, really fun for me and easy the way I structured it, because this book is layered into really emotions. So the chapters are, the first chapter is the Black Experience, or my Black Experience. And then we have pain, the mind, parenting, relationships, sex, fear, self-image, rituals, I'm not in order, subconscious mind, and success. And that's how I layered each chapter, and so it was kind of clearly laid out for the reader and myself as I was writing it. So the outline is important, and as you start the foundation for the outline, then you can start adding bricks to the foundation of that outline. And then you get into chapter 1 and you get more specific about what it's about, what exactly you want to say. Maybe even a sentence, that comes to you that's really great. You might want to write it down. It's important to keep a lot of notes. Each time I wrote both books, I had notes everywhere, all the time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Some days you may be able to push a lot out. Some days you might not be able to get through a sentence because that particular sentence is not, can't find the words to complete it. And another thing I encourage people to do when they're writing is to free write. Don't be so let your soul express itself, and don't be so fixated on making it a structured sentence or having it say it exactly the way you would want the book to be written. Get what you're trying to say out, and then go back and reconstruct that. Get what you have to say out. If you have something to say, get it out. It's better to get it out in an unformatted sentence, or a sentence that's not structured the way you would want it to in the book, than to sit there for hours and hours and hours trying to structure the sentence properly or whatever you're trying to say. So my advice for writing books, I'll do another one. We'll talk about publishing and things like that, but I just really wanted to address the writing because a lot of people contact me concerning the writing. It's a genre for anything. If you want to write about your story, or if you want to study something and write about it, or create a story and write about it, I encourage you to write your story, whatever story you may have. I'm very proud of my books. It's something that, Once you have out, nobody can take it from you. You know, other people read your words and, you know, your time, effort, and imagination as you created books. So I hope I was able to give some encouragement or some structure for you to start. I would say start is the best way to get a book out, or to start writing your book. Start writing. That's the best way to do it. And let it come to you. Stay committed. Sometimes it could be a long process. These 2 books took me 2 years. That one took 2 years. This one took 2 years. Not saying that it has to take 2 years. If I was more focused when I was writing them out, it could have been done way faster. I'm actually hoping. No, not hoping. I'm working on things in my next project, and it's going to move much faster than these 2. So, well, thank you for joining me for this short lesson on mindset transformation. I'll drop it here again. Talk to you guys. Thanks for watching.